If I were to say that I'm in a city on the water that has a big golden orange bridge, lots of steep hills with old-fashioned trams going up and down. It has a Chinatown and restaurants along the water. It's accepting and forward-thinking about cultural identity and sexuality. And it's got everything from hole-in-the-wall restaurants to high street luxury shopping. You'd probably say, easy. He's in San Francisco. But as much as I love the Bay Area of the United States, this isn't it. Lying on the very edge of the continent, this is the westernmost capital city in Europe, and one of the oldest cities in the world. This is Lisboa, Portugal, also known as Lisbon.
You know, I felt this the last time I was here. Lisbon has a feeling. There's something soft in the air. It's hard to explain. But there's a softness to the city and to the people. It might be the breeze coming in from the water. Perhaps that's it. But everybody seems in a great mood. Everybody's smiling. I haven't seen one grumpy person yet. I'm probably the grumpiest person in Lisbon right now. You know, it's not very warm weather yet. I'm sure that's on its way. When a city is hot and sticky and humid, people tend to get very grumpy. You know, it's irritating. But I feel like here, even in the heat, when it gets very warm, I feel like that breeze probably comes in and just cools everybody down a bit and tells everybody to relax. So everybody just seems in a nice mood. Everybody's smiling. The architecture has this certain soft look to it too. It's all aging a little bit. I was speaking to Dirk yesterday from Eibachers on the phone, and he hasn't been here since the 90s, and he said, do the buildings still have that kind of beautiful decay? Which is a perfect way of putting it. Everything has a bit of a patina. They're all aging a little bit. Even though they might be magnificent and large and powerful looking, they have that facade that's just kind of decaying a little, so it adds that kind of character, that soft character to it. Everything looks like a vintage watch. It's really, really nice. But again, for me, it's not just what you see on the screen. If you were here, you'd feel something in the air too. That's impossible to communicate through the lens.
So this one, it's super portagage. There you are.
Beautiful.
And box of 25 cigars costs you 175.75 cents.
Ah.
So This is not.
They come by the box, not singles.
Yes, sir.
Only
Yeah.
box.
Yeah, in Portugal it's prohibited by the law to sell cigars from the box.
By the box.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
If we sell, we can sell only in the
Only
tube.
those in
Yes,
the
sir.
tube. Wow.
So these ones with
That's
no
interesting.
fleur. Yeah, and here they are. Here's it, 52.
Why did they go up so much in price?
They raise up because
Of rarity, scarcity.
Chinese people clear European market.
For the same reason as wine and
so
Rolex, all the same
vendors
reason.
Get mad and they raise up prices 300%. So it's basically equal price to the Hong Kong. Yeah.
So
They
that
don't
box,
resell.
that box is how much? How many
This-
pieces is that?
12 pieces.
12 pieces.
And it's cost to 600, 33.50.
How long is this smoke?
This one's gonna be like 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
How much is that box?
And this box costs to 408, 25 pieces. This is a shipment, also one of top Cuban brands.
Of course.
And here they are. They are not so tiny, but they are small.
Yes.
They're really nice, especially like breakfast cigar, quick
Yeah,
lunch
quick.
cigar. This is really nice.
Oh, this is beautiful. Look. Gotta say, very modern place. I mean, they have fucking Starbucks and they have Sephora, as the Italians say. I feel like I'm just, I could be in Barcelona or London. This is pretty though. Not the bus. You may not know this, but this is the sardine capital of the world. Tinned sardines. They go mad for here. Look at this room. This is sardines, kids. Do they have vintages? I'm talking away. Holy shit. How pretty these tins are.
One of the more charming aspects to this town passes you in all directions. These trams have been chugging up and down the hills of the city for the better part of a century and a half now, and still provide the locals with a good means of transportation. Originally nicknamed Americanos, it's hard to ignore the resemblance to those of San Francisco. And in fact, the name comes from exactly that. Most of these trams were actually built in the United States. But the parallels with the famous city by the bay don't stop there. These two towns seem like siblings separated at birth, and even share some dark moments in their past.
Lisbon is one of the oldest cities in the world, certainly in Europe. It has records that trace back to 250 BC, and it was almost completely destroyed in 1755. There was a very strong earthquake that pretty much flattened the whole city, including the main Plaza de Comercio, main square there by the water, followed by fires and a tsunami, of course, that the earthquake had created. So it nearly wiped Lisbon off the map completely. They had to rebuild almost from scratch. And they built some of the first earthquake-proof buildings. They were able to test the buildings for earthquakes. What they did was they'd build a small wooden model of the building first, and then they'd have troops, march around it to see if it would, they would create a kind of a mini earthquake marching around the little model, and to see if the model was shaking too much or if it held up, and then if it did, then they could go ahead and build the real building itself. It was just their kind of primitive early way of ensuring that the building structure was sound. Well, just over my shoulder here in the distance is the 25th of April Bridge. It was opened in 1966 and it's the 43rd largest suspension bridge in the world. And yes, it bears a striking resemblance to another very famous suspension bridge. And it's yet another connection that Lisbon has with the great city of San Francisco in Northern California. And the reason why is because it was designed and built by the same company as built the Golden Gate and even the Bay Bridge in San Francisco. They even painted it the same color as the Golden Gate. It's one of the city's great landmarks, but it's actually not the largest bridge in Lisbon. That title is held by the Vasco da Gama, which is on the other side of the city, and that thing is an absolute monster, seems to go on forever. But this is definitely the more aesthetically pleasing bridge of the two, and it adds a beautiful contour to the view here at the end of the river.
Quando uma guitarra trina nas mãos de bom tocador, a própria guitarra ensina a cantar, seja quem for. Quando uma guitarra trina nas mãos de bom tocador, a própria guitarra ensina a cantar, seja quem for. Eu quero que o meu caixão tenha uma forma bizarra, a forma de coração, a forma de uma guitarra, guitarra, guitarra querida, eu venho chorar contigo, sinto mais suave a vida, quando tu choras comigo, guitarra, guitarra querida, eu venho chorar contigo, sinto mais suave a vida, quando tu choras comigo.
I've decided to spend the evening with a viewer of the channel, Francesco, who's invited me to a part of town a little less known by tourists. The area of Arroios is home to one of Lisbon's original main streets, the Avenida Amarante Reis, and this whole zone is making a comeback as one of the cooler parts of town. I'd compare it to a sort of Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and New York, away from all the major landmarks, and somehow a little cooler.
Do you know, actually, all of these places now, all of them got an outside space because of COVID?
Because of COVID, now they kept it. Same thing in New York. Fucked up, man. So this street used to be one of the main streets of Lisbon many, many years ago. But they had a big earthquake and it destroyed half the place. So you have this, all the beautiful buildings, or a lot of them, collapsed. So you have this mixture of these classic buildings, very classical style, like Paris or something. And then you have gross shit like this, where they were rebuilt. And you see this one here. And down here, this is like East Berlin in the 80s or something. Look at this monstrosity. So you have a kind of a mix of lovely classical and kind of grotesque. So it's kind of a weird dichotomy of an area. It's very cool. We're at a cafe here called O'Keefe, and they call it the neighborhood living rooms where everybody comes. Looks good on you, man.
What is watch it now? Rolex.
Oh, it's a vintage Rolex. There we go. That's classy.
It's kind of small size, what I like.
Yeah, it looks good on you. You have slender wrists.
Exactly, I have a very slim wrist actually.
Yeah, it's got some class. My thing is like a boisterous, annoying,
It's really
show off fucking watch, you know. Honestly, coming
amazing.
over here, taking the taxi here, I was passing all those kebab places and stuff, and shit was looking pretty dodgy. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing to go watch on? I'm asking for trouble.
But in Lisbon actually, I live here for around 15 years. And I was walking everywhere all the time.
It's a safe area?
Yeah, very nice. Everywhere in the city.
Really?
Of course, that I don't know if you go to the bars and stuff, shit might happen. I don't know. Drunk people and like only these situations, not getting mugged in the street. It doesn't happen here.
Okay.
I never went. Very rare. See, there is a new place opening here. There is a new place opening there.
On every corner.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's literally crazy. And this one, I'm pretty sure that soon is going to be something else. This is my street.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I live on top of this.
Oh.
See, that's for the table. It's outside,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, sure.
It's almost a rosé.
You know what it looks like? It looks like a Beaujolais.
Have you seen the how do you say it in English? Rótulo, branding, label.
The label.
It's quite nice actually.
Oh yeah, very cool. Very nice. That's a serious piece of glass as well. It's got an emblem in the glass. Yeah.
Está mesmo incrível.
Está bem boa, não está? Esta ginginha, eu ao início, quando comecei a trabalhar cá, ela já estava cá só para enfeitar. Cheira só esta ginginha.
Jesus.
Yeah, isto é bagaço.
This.
Ginja bagaceira.
É ginja bagaceira.
What the hell? What the fuck?
It is not your regular ginja.
Okay.
Bagaço is like hallucinogenic even if you drink it too much. Muito obrigado.
Quando uma guitarra trina nas mãos de bom tocador, a própria guitarra ensina a cantar seja quem for. Quando uma guitarra trina nas mãos de bom tocador, a própria guitarra ensina a cantar seja quem for.
The city is covered in blue and white tiles. It's a theme throughout, and the people of Lisbon learn to navigate around them. As I'm told, they can get quite slippery and dangerous when it rains. But apart from these and tin sardines, there's another thing Lisbon is famous for. Pastries. And here at the iconic Café à Brasileira, you can find them all. Orla de Berlim, Travesseiro, and the one everyone lines up for. The must-try of Lisbon's baked sweets. The holiest of holies, Pastelanada. It's a custard pie that Portuguese enjoy with coffee at breakfast.
Poi viene infornato.
On the second evening, I take a 30-minute train ride to the nearby town of Cascais, where I'm met by some avid viewers of the channel, eager to show me the local landmarks and dramatic landscape. It's a stylish and affluent holiday destination that began as a fishing town. The coastline is peppered with lighthouses and restaurants, and I can't help but compare it to a Newport Beach or Dana Point in California. I can see why people like soccer legend Cristiano Ronaldo live here. But as I look out on the waves, I realize I recognize this water. The west coast of my home country of Ireland looks out onto the Atlantic also. But this being so much further south, it's the softer side of that same ocean. They take me to their favorite restaurant, where I'm fed all of the local dishes, including, for the first time for me, barnacles plucked from the rock faces along the shore. As I chat and dine with people who are practically strangers, I'm reminded of the reach the channel has. They seem to know more about me than I do, and seem genuinely touched by some of the episodes. I may try all the local desserts too, which takes its toll on my complexion the following days there. It was a magical evening and definitely a town I'll return to someday. If you're a foodie like me, one essential stop to be made is at the famous Time Out food market, in reference to the popular magazine of said name. This enormous hall is a mecca of every different cuisine and beverages to be found throughout the whole region, where restaurants get to flex their skills in satellite form, presumably in hopes that you'll like their food so much you'll pay a visit to the actual restaurant. It's got everything from sushi to meats to sweets. And plenty of wine and port to go along. Truthfully, I could spend a whole week in this place. If you're not a fan of crowds and waiting around to find a spot to eat, maybe it's not for you. But it's a great opportunity to gather up all the various flavors of Lisbon in one place.
This is the famous Rossio Square. It's been a kind of a center meeting point for both commoners and intellectuals for centuries. But it has a kind of a darker, lesser known past. When the Inquisition came through Lisbon, they were installed at the Palace of Arroios, which is on the north side of the square. And because of that, this became the spot for a lot of executions, including the first auto de fe, which is death of heretics by burning. So they were burning people alive in this square a very long time ago, but now it's just got a fair and people hang out, and some guy was singing What a Wonderful World there a minute ago, so I think that's called progress. I sat down for a little drink. Just rest the legs for a minute because I was just fucking traipsing up and down the city. I was there for about 20 minutes and I was offered cocaine, hash, and various other things about 4 times from 4 different guys. And each time, when I was like, no thanks man, I know I look like the type and all, but not my thing, never has been. But thanks anyway. And they're nice. And each time, they'd nod at the waiter and say, hey, how's it going, man? It's like they're all buddies. Nobody gives a shit. I haven't seen a cop in 2 hours. It's fucking crazy. But cool town, very cool town. Lisbon, baby. Long time since I've seen that. They used to sell them in Venice. The fake bags, look. Amazing.
On my 3rd day, I'm contacted by, of all things, a fellow Dubliner whose business has brought him to Lisbon over the years. Once again, I have no idea who I'm meeting or what they have planned. As we take to the Tajo River on this boat, I end up tasting another piece of Portuguese paradise. There isn't one Rolex in his collection. And what a collection it is. We seem to have pretty much the same taste in watches. Though I'm shocked how different his Royal Oak looks to mine. And we spend the afternoon drinking and sharing stories. Once again, perfect strangers become friends.
Crowds like these are building up at all the bars right now. They're all watching very intensely the football match, the soccer final, and I'm told if their local team wins, this entire city is going to turn into complete and utter madness. Thousands of people on the streets, you won't be able to swing a cat. So I don't know if I want them to win because my hotel's in the middle of it, but I guess I don't need much sleep, right? Fuck it. I guess I'll get drunk with the rest of them. Let's go!
Sempre depois de sexta, chamando as flores. Era o dia de festa, maio de amores. Andou vinho de cantar. E uma pagoada voltou-te a parar. numa rapida arrebastou-nos. Vende som da vida que mata a dores. Do vento vai nascer. Que a voz de esperança a turba rompeu.
As my visit here winds up, I think of the calming effect the city has on me. The friendly faces and smiles everywhere. The cool breeze coming in from the water. And the relaxing feeling like time doesn't really matter. Lisbon for me is disarming. I find my shoulders relaxing and nostalgia moving in. I find myself reflecting on the somewhat difficult year that led up to this. But I feel like it was fate leading me here. Lisbon wanted to remind me of something. My passion for beautiful timepieces has connected me with thousands of people around the world who consider me their friend they just haven't met yet. And I wonder how many other places in the world would welcome me in the same way to their town. I've lived a very alternative life. Never with any sort of predictable map or plan. Even this time I wound up in Lisbon by accident on my way somewhere else. As evening falls, young women of the night appear. Waiting for a connection. Tomorrow, the Taju River will wipe all their memories of tonight clean, so they can start again. After all, that's what Lisbon does. new beginnings. A city almost wiped away. That rose from the ashes. Bruised and fractured, but still here. Don't worry, I didn't avoid it. I saw Lisbon's harder side. The poverty, the crime. This is still a poor country, struggling to keep its head above water. But the thing it's rich in is hard to describe. The softness in the air, the feeling, whatever it is. After a tough year of sailing by myself into the wind, it fixed me.